Hello, welcome to Raymond Castile's Basement of Horror. Today we are going to look at Jada Universal Monster Toys. Is it Jada or Jada? I'm not sure. I just this moment realized I don't know how to pronounce that name. I've never heard anyone say it out loud. I'm going to say Jada. I hope that's correct. I don't really know. My hand is all cut up. I haven't worn the gloves in a long time. People think I wear the white gloves like in years past. Not really this season. I don't think I've worn them in a long time, but last year, the year before, I wore white gloves because people thought it was because I didn't want to touch these valuable collectibles with human hands. No, it's because my cat Billy scratches my hands up. And today I've got some really nice lacerations there. And I was going to wear the gloves today. I thought, nah, forget it. Who cares? I've just explained it. Now you know when you see, if you see me holding something and think, what's going on with his hand? Now you know. Billy got me with his hind paws, like the little bunny move on me with his hind paws, and got me pretty good. Maybe we'll see Billy. He's over there. I don't know if he'll come here. I hope it would be nice if he would, because he hasn't been up here in a long time. Several episodes. I would like to... Oh, is he coming? Billy, come up here, Billy. Let people see you. There's my Billy. There you are. There's my Billy. There you are. You can just hang out here if you want. You don't have to go anywhere. You can just stay there. There's Billy. Just stay right there. Okay, so we're going to talk about... Billy, were you up here? I see there's little paw prints in the dust. Okay. Okay, so this is... I'm going to say Jada. This is a Jada Frankenstein. And nope, he's not coming out of that package. So these have been out for a while. And I think, was it last fall they came out? Or yeah, they came out around Halloween, right? Or more or less last fall. And I was going to... Bye-bye, Billy. Maybe he'll come back later. At least you got to see Billy. He's had a rough day. He was at the vet all day yesterday. And he was going to have an endoscopy, but then the vet decided not to do that. So, but even so, it was a rough day. He was at the vet all day. And he's a little out of sorts still. The next day, he's still a little, not quite back to normal yet. But anyway, at least you got to see him. So these have been out for some time. And I wasn't even going to do a video on them. And the reason being, a few reasons. So Jada last summer sent some sample copies to some big YouTubers, like, YouTubers with like 100,000 or more subscribers, big ones. And that was months before these shipped to anybody, to any customers. So right off the bat, I thought, well, they're already, as far as reviews, I mean, it's already been spent. I mean, who cares now? I mean, by sending those to those very big YouTube channels with a lot of exposure, they've already sort of spoiled it for anyone who might have to pay to get them months later, because it was months ahead of time. It wasn't like a week or two. It was some months before they shipped that the samples went out to the other YouTube channels. So I thought, well, what's the point in being like a Johnny-come-lately and reviewing them now after they've been had all that exposure months ago. And then, even though I did pre-order them, it seemed like I was the last person on earth to actually get them. I was looking at my social media and everyone else had theirs, or even some were even finding them in stores, and my pre-order still hadn't arrived. So it was like a month after they had shipped to most of the paying customers before I finally got my shipment. So then I really thought, well, what's the point, And then I know that this 1/12 scale, the people who collect these really value taking them out of the box. The part of the culture around this scale of action figure emphasizes the posability and the more tactile. Billy's being rambunctious over there. The more tactile aspect. And I don't take things out of the box, so I thought, why? Since everyone who watches this is going to want to see them out of the box, and those early reviews, they did take them out of the box. So again, what's the point? And then I heard that they were coming out with this lab table for Frankenstein, and I thought, well, maybe I'll wait till I get that, and then maybe that will be the occasion to finally do a video. And recently I decided, what, I'm not going to get that lab table, so there's nothing to wait for. If I'm ever going to do it, I might as well just do it. So I feel like, just for the record, these need to be on the program at some point. Not that years from now historians will look at this show and use it to decide what toys were released in the 2020s, but I feel like even though I might fall short, I should strive to be a show of record as far as the monster toys that are being released during this era. That's not going to work. I can't show you all the new monster toys coming out, but I should try. I should have that as a goal. I might not achieve that goal, but I should try. And these are a major monster toy line that has come out during this era, so I thought I have to do an episode. So this is that episode. I'm not going to take them out of the box, and there's already been 100 videos about these for months, so I don't know what the point of this episode is, except just to hear me sit here and talk about it. And if that is why if you're here for that, well, fantastic. If you're not, sorry. Anyway, Jada Universal Monsters. Here we go. Let's just set them all out here. And if Billy comes over and knocks them over, that's A-okay with me. All right, so I don't know if the light's reflecting off the windows or what's going on, because I can't see. I can't see what you're saying. So there's the set. There's 4 of them. Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon. I would be surprised if they did not do a second series with Mummy, Wolfman, maybe, I don't know, Invisible Man, Phantom of the Opera, or perhaps a Mole Man, or a Metaluna Mutant, or something like that. Who knows? But I'd be surprised if they didn't, because they seem to be making quite a push with these. And apparently these are the first, from what I've read, these are the first action figures of this type that Jada has ever made. This is like a new venture for them. They're not known for this type of toy. I don't know a lot about the company. I don't know where they're based. They do make other licensed character toys. Not a lot of stuff like this. I don't know if they make anything else quite like this. So this might be the only action figures of this type that they make. And I do think that these were the first of their kind that Jada produced, because there was some buzz about how they were a new thing for Jada, that people were kind of surprised that Jada was getting involved with this kind of toy, or that they would use the Universal monsters as their entry into this format. And apparently Jada makes a lot of metal toys, like vehicles and stuff. And in fact, they have a vehicle that is not officially part of this set, but it's kind of adjacent to it. But I'll talk about that in a minute. So these are 1/12 scale, which is a trendy scale right now. I don't really like 1/12 scale. I like 12-inch toys. I like 8-inch toys. I like G.I. Joe style, Mego style. And I'm okay with 3 3/4 inch. That's, it's not my favorite, but I like it. But this, I think these are 6 inches. This 1/12 scale, it feels like it's neither fish nor fowl. Now these have sculpted on clothes, like PVC clothes. A lot of higher end 1/12 scale figures have fabric costumes, and they're very elaborate and very expensive. These are affordable, and they have PVC costumes, but like sculpted on costumes, but they're very detailed. However, they don't have actor likenesses, and that's kind of an issue. But let's look at Frankie again. So they are obviously Universal monsters. They're licensed by Universal. And there's Frankenstein, and he has that head, that extra head, and there's his standard head. He has the dreaded green jacket. You know how much I love the green jacket. I thought we were rid of that thing, but nope, here it is again. His extra hands, and some accessories. He's got chains. Does he have a flower? Or, I don't think so, does he? No. He has chains, though, so you can chain him up. Because I saw those extra hands, I thought maybe that he had the extra hands so he could hold a flower. Because, of course, Frankenstein, one of the iconic scenes is throwing the flowers into the lake, river, and little Maria, I think that's her name, is playing games with the Frankenstein monster, and Frankie throws her in. And there have been other toys that did have a little flower, so I thought that might be a nice accessory for this one, but I don't think it has a flower. Anyway, so I'm starting with him, not just because it's Frankenstein's the most iconic of the monsters, but I have to say I think this is the weakest of the four, so I might as well get him out of the way. Start with him. He's the weakest of the four. And he also has he has an accessory, that lab table I mentioned, and that automobile that I mentioned is also a Frankenstein-related product. So this is interesting. I haven't seen this artwork on anything else. I don't think that's unique to Jada. That's probably from Universal. It's probably some stylized branding that they're trying to push, and I don't know if there are any other toys that have this imagery on them. I know there's some bendies out there. Do the bendies have this imagery on the package? These kind of like caricatures, not really caricatures, but these illustrations. Now this, I've seen illustrations like that on other products. I don't know if I've seen this exact same one, but that style, that looks like what I'd expect from the current style guide. Oh, it's Billy. Hi, Billy. Do you have anything to say about Frankenstein, Billy? You can sit right there. Here's the top. It's got this little plastic hook on it. Nothing exciting on the bottom. Now the back is bizarre. Okay, here's the back. It's got, you know, as you'd expect, the other figures in the lineup. But then look at that. Look at all that. It's the same sentence in umpteen million different languages. The same sentence over and over again in every language known to the human race. And what is the sentence that's repeated over and over again? Let's see. It is, all work and no play make Jack a dull boy. Over and over and over and over again. Well, actually, it says subject to technical change and change of color, small parts, choking hazard. Please keep this information. And how many different languages does it say that in? I'm not even going to count. Look at that. What I just said about the subject to change, small parts, etc., etc. It's just that statement again and again and again and again and again and again in all of those different languages. 2021 Jada Toys Inc. City of Industry, California, USA. Yeah, nothing amazing here. Yeah. So I think Jada is very much an international company. I think that's their brand identity, is they're very global, very international. And that's why this is, you know, someday an archaeologist 5,000 years from now will unearth one of these, and it will be the Rosetta Stone of the future. And one of these packages will be the key that unlocks the understanding of all of the Earth's languages in the 21st century. So thousands of years from now, our descendants, whatever kind of humanoids they may be, they'll be wondering, how do we understand the language of these ancient earth creatures from the 21st century, these primitive beings? And they will find one of these packages in, I don't know how it might be preserved, probably the dwelling of some crazy collector like me that has it in plastic or maybe slabbed and you know, buried under layers of earth. Because I don't know if this would keep in a landfill, but it might. But they'll find it and they'll see all these different languages, and there'll be one that they understand, and they'll use it to unlock all the rest. And it will be the new Rosetta Stone. And this will be the key for some 45th century archaeologists to understand the language and culture of the planet Earth in the 21st century. So I'm holding something very important here. Now, I don't know, this, to say this is overkill doesn't quite cut it. It's kind of bizarre. It's kind of weird. That's why, I mean, when I think of The Shining, I'll work and no play, make Jack a dull boy. That is kind of the vibe I get. Looking at this, it's just weird to take up that much of the back of the package with that innocuous small parts, colors may subject to change, blah blah blah. That kind of on any other package, any other toy package, it would take up this much space, just a little sliver down there, or maybe on the bottom. Here it takes up half the back of the box. What a strange use of real estate. Toy package real estate. What a strange use of space Jada may say, oh, we have to do that. I don't see any other toy company doing that. I've never seen another contemporary toy company doing this. That is strange. But I think it speaks to the fact that Jada apparently is a very international kind of a company. They're not really, I guess, they don't really consider the United States or Great Britain as the whole show. It's part of the show, it's not the whole show. And I think they're more interested in a global market, I guess. I don't know. Now, looking at good old Frank, it's a generic Frankenstein. I'm not crazy about the sculpt. A lot of people have praised the sculpt. It's very generic. And, it's okay, but it's not. I've seen better generic Frankensteins. And this other face, this grimacing, grinning, whatever that is, I really don't like that. I think it's poorly done. I know what they're going for, but to pull that off, that expression for Frankenstein, you really, really need a Boris Karloff likeness. To do that on a generic Frankenstein, I think just doesn't work. If you have a Boris Karloff likeness and you really nail it, it's an excellent likeness of Boris Karloff. If that's what you've got, then you can do that face. But on a generic Frankenstein, I think that's very, very tricky, and I don't think they pulled it off here. I don't think they succeeded in capturing that kind of half snarl, half grimace, half grin kind of a face. Because Karloff, his Frankenstein, he would snarl like that, and he would also kind of laugh or grin sometimes and have kind of like a giddy look. He had a lot of expressions. He's not just, dour monster all the time. He's very expressive. And if you've got the Karloff likeness and you really nail that likeness, you can pull that off. And other toys have, and other recent toys have. But this doesn't do it. I think they should have stayed away from that expression. I don't think it's I don't think they were successful at doing that. So, I don't know what else to say about that Frankenstein. He has a new accessory that just came out recently. It's a lab table. I don't remember what the official name is, but it's only available through the Jada Toys website. They have a section on the website called Next Level. Next Level. And on that section of their website, they are selling this lab table, this Frankenstein laboratory table. It's $40. Limit 1 per customer. It's only available through the website. And I guess it's sort of a modern take on the Remco Monsterizer. At least that's the way I look at it. It's a 21st century Monsterizer. And unlike the Monsterizer, the Remco Monsterizer from 1980, unlike that toy, this new Jada lab table doesn't really do anything. It looks nice, but it doesn't really do anything. So it's a lab table. This is the international symbol for Frankenstein lab table. So you put the figure on it. It has straps that do fasten. It has a sheet that can go over him. So you can cover him with the sheet, or you can just kind of tuck him in. Have the sheet right here. And the straps would typically go over the sheet. And then it just kind of raises and lowers. You can have it horizontal, you can have it vertical. And I think that's all it does. It just, the table moves, and the straps, and it's got the fabric sheet. And it comes with the Frankenstein, which I think is a little weird. I understand why they included it, but the Frankenstein and the whole thing is in black and white. So this Frankenstein is in color, which means it has this stupid green jacket. Well, this other one in this lab table set does not have a green jacket. It has a gray jacket. So that's one way to get around the green jacket. Although I thought we were done with it. I thought Universal let go of that, but I don't know. But anyway, $40, and it doesn't really do anything. Like the Remco Monsterizer did stuff. It lit up. It had glow-in-the-dark parts. It had a light. It made noise. It moved more than just kind of up and down like a hinge. It had a platform that you could crank and it would come out and go in. Then it had like a cage over the top that would raise and lower. So it had a lot of action, at least the one for the full-sized figures. And then there was also a Monsterizer for the small 3 3/4 inch figures. And I don't know how many features the smaller one had compared to the larger one, but they both did stuff. So for $40, I don't know. I feel like this lab table should do something. And I know, so to me that lab table is like a $15 item. I look at that lab table and I see $15. If it didn't come with the figure, it would be like 20-ish, and it would be much more reasonable. And maybe I would have ordered it for $20. I don't know. But $40 for a lab table and a figure I've already got. Okay, so it's black and white. I don't really need to collect variants with these guys. I don't know. So it comes in a nice display box. I guess if you were not going to buy the set, but you just wanted something from this collection, maybe that would be the one piece you'd buy. Just buy that, and you've got the Jada Universal Monsters experience all in one package, I guess. I don't know. So I'm glad it exists. I know some people are really excited about it, and I'm happy for them. If they bought it, they like it, great. I can think of other ways to spend $40, probably on vet bills for my cat, or maybe I need hospital bills for myself after he's cut me up so badly. That's okay. But anyway, it's just, and that's part of why I decided let's just do this video, because I was kind of waiting to buy that table, and then I realized I'm not going to buy that table. So what am I waiting for? I might as well do the video. There's also another Jada Frankenstein piece. It's part of their, I think it's called Hollywood Rides collection. So there's a car. I think they're made of die-cast metal with rubber wheels. There's a car and a figure with this Hollywood Rides collection. So there's a Frankenstein as part of this set, this series, and it's a little smaller than the Frankenstein you just saw. It's not in the same scale. It's a smaller scale, and it comes with a Chevy Suburban automobile. And this Chevy Suburban is specially designed to complement the Frankenstein figure. It kind of looks like a hearse, at least to me. And it's got Frankenstein logo on it. It's got Frankenstein monster face on the hood. And the set comes with the Frankenstein figure and the automobile. I don't know if the Frankenstein figure can fit inside the automobile. I'm not sure about that. but it comes in a set with the figure and the car. And it's cute. I mean, I kind of thought about buying that. It's kind of a cute set. It reminds me of the glass leash Dracula set from Brazil, which we've seen on this show. It has a Dracula figure and 2 vehicles. And then there's another set that has the Dracula figure and just 1 vehicle. And then you can get the Dracula figure individually. But this is a Brazilian company. This is a toy that was made, I don't know, 40 years ago, a long time ago, 30, 40 years ago. So they got a lot going on with Frankenstein. Let's look at Creature. So this is a standard color version of the Creature, but they've also got a glow-in-the-dark one. So they got the same figure, but instead of green, he's glow-in-the-dark. Here's Creature. Now, that's a pretty good Creature. Not a lot of difference between the heads, but he has 2 heads, 2 sets of hands, and he's got this fossilized hand. Like the one they find at the beginning of the movie, Creature from the Black Lagoon, embedded in the side of a hill. There's an archaeological dig, and they find that fossilized claw, and that kind of starts off the whole story. That's why they launched their expedition into the darkest reaches of the Amazon to find the Black Lagoon. So here's the Creature, and he's a pretty good figure. I mean, he's got a net to capture him, a harpoon gun. It's not something he's going to use. Those are things people would use against him. So this is a pretty decent Creature from the Black Lagoon action figure. And when I saw the prototypes, the promotional photos, I was very, very impressed. And I'm still impressed by the actual toy. I think the promotional pictures, of course, looked a little better than the actual toy, but yeah, I mean, the actual toy is not bad. So Dracula, interestingly, is not pictured on the side. That's an odd rendition of the Creature. Almost like a Creature Walks Among Us, sort of a... I'll tell you what that looks like. It looks like the early concept of the Creature before it was the final design that we know, before they arrived at that design. This drawing, this illustration, looks like the earlier version of what he was going to look like. Anyway, so there's the toy, and it's a very nice Creature from the Black Lagoon action figure. I think it's very, very well sculpted, and the articulation is done very well. And the paint is not bad, but the paint really is my only problem. He's got a nice green color, and his face is, I like his face, but the shading, all those dark stripes, I understand what they're supposed to be, but they look like he's striped. I mean, they just make him look like a striped creature. If you were not familiar with the character, if you didn't know what he was supposed to look like, and you just looked at this toy, you would think he was striped. You would think that when you watch the movie, you're going to see a striped creature. So I would have preferred that the shadowing had been maybe a lighter color or more translucent, or maybe just find another way to do it. I understand why it looks the way it does. I just think that it's too bold and too defined. It looks like stripes instead of shadowing, which is what it's supposed to be. And the actual creature suit does have shading to make the layers more defined. But to pull that off, you really need a better paint job. You really need like a hand-painted one toy at a time, taking great care, a custom paint job. To try to do this like on an assembly line and make it work is very difficult. And I don't think they achieved that. I see what they were trying to do, but to make that shading work and not look like stripes, like zebra stripes, they really would have had to have taken more time with each figure, carefully hand painting each one to pull that off. So it's not bad, but my first thought when I saw this, when I took it out of the shipping box and I took a look at it, was that he had stripes. Because the paint needs to be more subtle to make that shading work, to make it not look like stripes. But even with that, I mean, yes, that's the complaint, but it doesn't ruin the toy. It's still an excellent creature toy. And really, it's one of the better creature action figures ever made. I think it's better than the Diamond Select PVC creature. I think it's better than the Toy Island creature from the 2000s. I think the sculpt might be better than the Sideshow creature. The paint isn't, but the sculpt is certainly more on model as far as the proportions and the curves and the angles and everything. The Sideshow creature has a very stylized kind of look. This one looks more accurate to what the screen. It looks more accurate to the screen image. Hello, Billy. You're making up for all the times you weren't here in previous episodes. Lots of static. Listen to that. Well, we could just sit here for half an hour stroking Billy. Probably be a more interesting show. So anyway, so I like that creature. The paint, I have a problem with the paint. It's not quite... If they would have found a way to make that paint more nuanced, I would put that maybe in the top 5 creature action figures ever made. It's really good, but that paint, it's a problem. Given that the figure is such a realistic looking, if it was more stylized sculpt and the whole thing was more stylized, then it would be different. But because it's so screen accurate, so detailed, the paint really needs to be up to the same level. Now, I don't know about the ow. See, that's how this happened. So, you can just stay there. What was I even saying? I was talking about it's a very screen accurate toy, but the paint is not up to the same level as the sculpt. If it were, then I think they would really hit it out of the park and be one of the best creature figures of all time. And I can imagine a custom painted version of that. That would be really, really nice if someone stripped the paint, repainted the whole thing, and did it the way I'm talking about, very, very carefully, and did a little fine airbrushing. And I can imagine a really nice end product as a custom toy. Okay, here's Dracula. And like all of these, he's a generic Dracula. Well, I mean, he's licensed Universal, but he's not Bela Lugosi. He's not an actor likeness. But he's really good. I mean, as generic Draculas go, as non-Bela Draculas go, he's awfully good, isn't he? Now, this open mouth head, I'm not too crazy about that. But the closed mouth, I mean, that's a pretty nice Dracula. They struck a good balance between making him reminiscent of Bela without having an actual Bela likeness. And you can tell they were sort of going for like a stealth Bela likeness, trying to get as close as they could to Bela without crossing a line that would cause trouble. But he's obviously inspired by Bela. Now, that said, he does look a bit like maybe a banker or an accountant cosplaying as Dracula. There's something about the way he looks. He has a kind of a businessman sort of a look. But, well, you know, they tried to give it a Bela-ish look without actually looking like Bela. So I mean, for a generic Dracula, it's pretty good. The sculpt with the costume, I think, is really nice. His tuxedo details are very nice. The cape is very nice. It's all very nice. The only thing I don't like is that open mouth head. That's not very nice. That's kind of silly looking. But the standard head is pretty good. And here's that's a pretty good illustration on the back. Again, for a generic style guide type illustration, that's pretty good. Pretty atmospheric. If you can't have Bela and you gotta go generic, this ain't bad. So I like that he has a red lining, like Dracula should. I don't care what he looked like in them on set when they were making the movie. I don't care. Dracula has a red lining. His cape has a red lining. And he's got some nice, well, he's got alternate hands. I don't know about those, but this candle's pretty good. I like that. That looks the way it ought to look. This bat's pretty good. So he's got some nice accessories. All in all, I mean, for a generic Dracula, he's pretty good. He doesn't have a Chevy Suburban, an automobile. He doesn't have a lab table, but they could make a coffin. For $40, they could have a coffin with a lid that opens and closes. And it can be black and white. And so they could have, I think the Frankenstein that comes with that lab table, no, it's different. It's, I think it's, as I recall, it's arms can pose in ways that this Frank, it doesn't look like he could pose in the same way. I could be wrong, though. Maybe it's exactly the same. I don't know. But I can imagine a Dracula, $40 Dracula next level set that would have a coffin. The Dracula would go in the coffin, and the lid on the coffin would open and close. You could set the coffin down horizontally, or you could prop it up against something vertically. Maybe have some rats that you could, or opossums, that would be more accurate. You might have some opossums that could scurry around the coffin. And if you don't know why there would be opossums around Dracula's coffin, you're probably watching the wrong show. Go watch Dracula. Go watch the Universal Dracula right now. Stop watching this and go watch the Bela Lugosi Dracula. Okay, now, so here is the Bride of Frankenstein. The Bride of Frankenstein. Ding, 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 ding. You know, as much as I like the creature, I might have to pick the Bride as the best of the set. And I've heard other people say the same thing. There's something about this bride that really hits the spot, even though it's not an Elsa Lanchester likeness. It's still awfully, awfully good. Certainly one of the better bride toys I've ever seen. It's very close to Elsa. I mean, they didn't have the Elsa Lanchester likeness, the rights to the likeness. There's some issue with her likeness. Apparently nobody can have that likeness. It's like off limits. I don't know why. Though I suspect if NECA decides to do an Elsa Lanchester, magically, somehow, some way, they'll get the likeness, the license to use the likeness. For some reason, NECA just gets it done. I don't know why other companies can't do that, but right now we're talking about Jada, not NECA. So for a generic bride, it's really good, and you can tell kind of like how they had like a stealth Bela likeness with Dracula. They've got a stealth Elsa Lanchester likeness with this figure. Does she have a dimple in her chin? That's kind of like Frankenstein. The things that make it a universal Frankenstein are the electrodes and the flat head and the forehead scar. There's certain attributes that if you're trying to make an unlicensed Frankenstein, you better not include those. Elsa, the Bride of Frankenstein, the thing that makes it Elsa Lanchester, well, one of the things is the dimple in the chin. And this certainly looks like it does have a bit of a dimple there. I mean, it really looks like Elsa Lanchester. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be generic, but it looks like Elsa, doesn't it? I like the screaming head. It's not as good as the closed mouth head, but it's not bad. I understand the Bride of Frankenstein, she's not on screen very long, but in that sequence at the end of the movie, when you finally see her, one of the things she does is scream. So that's part of her iconic look, is that screaming face. You got the kind of puzzled look, and then you got the screaming look and the hissing. Those are, I guess, her three most iconic looks. But this is pretty good. I mean, you can just tell just looking at. I'm looking at this little screen here. It's pretty good. It's. I mean, if this had been an actor likeness, if they had said this had an Elsa likeness, I would have believed it. I wouldn't say, "Oh, that doesn't look like Elsa." So, considering that this isn't supposed to be officially based on her, I mean, they obviously did base it on her. Legally they may have said, no, it's generic, but obviously the sculpt is Elsa Lanchester. Not 100%, but 85, 90%. Just off a teeny little bit, just enough, I guess, to satisfy the lawyers. And she has some accessories there. Her accessories are not as strong as some of the other ones. They don't make as much sense, but they did give her some accessories. They did not give her a bandaged head, and I noticed. That would have been an interesting choice. Like Sideshow's 8-inch Bride of Frankenstein has a bandaged head as an alternate head. I think it does. Am I misremembering that? I'm pretty sure it does. And I like her gown. It looks pretty cool. And her bandaged arms and hands are neat. So yeah, I mean, they got the hair. I mean, the hair is more symmetrical than what it really was in the movie, but that's okay. On a toy, that's fine. If it were a more expensive screen-accurate toy with an Elsa Lanchester license, then I'd say, nah, those stripes need to be asymmetrical like they are in the movie. But for a generic toy, it's fine. So it's really, I think this is the best of the set. This just really has some personality to it. There's some attitude to this toy that you certainly don't see that in the Frankenstein, which is very generic. And this is too, but it's got a kind of an attitude. It has a spirit about it. So I think this is the standout. And I'm not the only one to say that. I've read other people online saying that they think the Bride is the best of the set. The creature is awfully good. If the paint on that creature were better, I would say that that's the best of the set. But because the paint on the creature is a little weak, this Elsa, well, it's not Elsa, this Bride, this officially not Elsa Bride, just nails it. Just everything about it is just knocks it out of the park. There's nothing you can say. You can't detract from it. I don't have anything negative I can say about it. So I think this is the best. The Bride of Frankenstein is the best of the set. I really like this Dracula. And even on Dracula's box, Dracula's not on the side. That's interesting. But I like the Dracula. For a non-Bela Dracula, I think they did a good job of having a compromise, having a face that doesn't look like so many generic Draculas. It doesn't look like a 20-something male model with fangs. It looks aristocratic. I think that's, I say it kind of looks like a banker or a business guy. Yeah, but he also looks aristocratic. I think that's where so many Dracula toys fail, particularly the generic Dracula toys. Almost none of them look aristocratic. This figure looks aristocratic. That head, that face, that looks like an aristocrat. That looks like a guy who's used to being in power. That's not a desperate man. He's not trying to prove anything. He's a man of power, and he just a matter when he chooses to exercise his power. He looks like a monarch, an aristocrat, a rich man, a powerful man. A man who doesn't feel like he has to flex his muscles very much. A man who's very comfortable with his own power. As opposed to the Frankenstein monster, that is a desperate character who, although he's very strong, in a way he's very put upon. He certainly doesn't have any influence. He has some physical power, but no influence, no standing in society. He's an outcast. Dracula, on the other hand, should be very sure of himself, very confident, and he should have this air of untouchability, of arrogance. And that Dracula does look arrogant. I think he looks arrogant. Frankie, yeah, well, it's not bad. It's okay. Creature, great sculpt, great design. I like the green. I like the basic colors. The only issue is those stripes, the shading. They should have taken a different approach with that, because it demanded a more subtle, careful, nuanced method of depicting that shading between the layers of his scales, and that was a little too ambitious for the type of mass-produced product that this is. If it were a $300 Hot Toys item, different. Or even if it was like a $125 Mezco 112 scale creature, I'm sure that would look different. But I think these are about $20. You know, they're for a very much a mass-produced kind of an item that would be, you would find at Walmart. It wouldn't be realistic to think that you could do that kind of very detailed paint job. So maybe they should have just made them, I don't know, solid green and sprayed a few different colors on them. And I don't know. The paint kind of lets down the sculpt because it's a great sculpt. So this is the one that just is uncompromised. The bride just, it hits on all levels. There's no issue. She has a great attitude. There's like a personality in her face, and she captures the movie character, and she stands on her own as an action figure apart from the movie. She just works. So those are the Jada Toys. I don't know that. Well, I guess if they do a second series, yeah, I'll get a second series. I guess, you know, if they do Wolfman, Mummy, how can I not get those? But I'm not getting the lab table. I'm not getting the Chevy Suburban with the Frankenstein. I'm not getting the glow-in-the-dark creature or any other glow-in-the-dark variants. And if they do like a Dracula's coffin or a lab table for the bride or what, I'm not getting those things. Just the standard character, one of each standard character, that's fine. They're worth picking up, but they're not, for me anyway, they're not worth being a completist about it. There are a lot of monster toys out there right now, like NECA. They have their Universal Wolfman and Mummy. I'm shipping as we speak, probably. Super 7 just came out with a bunch of new stuff, and I do want to get some of that, like the Soapies, not Soakies, but Soapies. They're like the Soakies of the 60s, but they're new sculpts, and their bubble solution is still bubble bath. They're bubbles like you blow through a wand. So there's a lot of cool stuff out there, and I don't think $40 on that lab table, or that's not where I want to put my money. I'd rather buy a couple of the Super 7 Soapies for $20 each, or buy one of the new NECA Wolfman or Mummy figures. And their NECA Mummy is going to have a sarcophagus, not with the standard version, but at some point this year they're going to come out with a sarcophagus for the Mummy. So there's some exciting stuff from NECA coming out, and that I'm more excited about that because they're actor likenesses. They're beautiful looking. There's no compromises there. They don't cut any corners. The boxes have movie poster artwork. It's the whole package with the NECA figures. So I'm more interested in those. But I felt like I had to do a show on the Jada Toys. Just, it would be wrong to let them slip by, and they're a major Universal Monsters toy line released during this time, and I felt like I had to have them on the show. So now I have done that. And I'm glad we got Billy here. I don't know if he's feeling so good today, but hey baby, okay? He's chilling out there. He's saying, isn't it time to go to bed? I always shoot these things in the middle of the night. He's like, come on, it's time to go to bed. What are you doing down here? Okay, I will wrap this up. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed seeing Billy. And I will see you again very soon. Please subscribe to the channel and join the Basement of Horror Facebook group. You'll find a link in the description. I'll see you next time. Until then, Basement of Horror will return.